Penny,
Here.
Porter,
Here.
Riffle,
Here.
Roman,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Spellman,
Here.
Spencer,
Here.
Sullivan,
Here.
Tile,
Here.
Chumland,
Here.
Wessel,
Here.
Wilhelm,
Here.
Whitmer,
Here.
and Yoganadon.
Here.
And then we'll move in directors real quick. Boyd,
Here.
Clark, Cruz,
Here.
Gortson,
Here.
Pick,
Here.
Lundeen, Marshall,
Here.
McIntosh, McKenzie, Minu, Pasteur, Sedlacek,
Here.
Underwood, and Valdez,
Here.
and Tuttle.
Here.
All right, we have 44 senators present, 4 absent, and 2 excused.
All right, we will now move into first open period. Our first open period speaker tonight is K-State Library's Dean Lori Getch.
Is this on? There we go. Hi, thanks for the opportunity to talk to you all about Hale Library. We had a rather interesting summer and experienced a pretty extraordinary disaster. And I wanted to take you through some slides quickly so you can see the extent of the damage to the library. And then I'm really interested in hearing your questions and concerns. So we had a fire on the roof on May 22nd. It started about 4 o'clock in the afternoon from a welding spark that lit material up on the roof. We had roofers working on the building at the time. The fire went undetected for quite a bit and burned till about 2 o'clock in the morning before it was finally put out. We had several fire departments from around the region come and respond to that, including the Manhattan Fire Department. There was no loss of life, nobody injured in the fire, but we did have significant subsequent damage. There were hundreds of thousands of gallons of water that were poured into the library from the firefighters and also from our own sprinkler system. So we had extensive water damage throughout the building. In addition to that, we had a downdraft of smoke that filled the library, and so the combination of water and smoke did significant damage. So this is an example of the Information Technology Assistance Center, the IT help desk that's in the library following the fire and water damage. We had ceilings falling on staff offices and public spaces. We had water running down the walls. We had significant standing water throughout the building, up to ankles, up to mid-shins in some places. The water and smoke combined to create a kind of soot that damaged all the library materials in the building. 1.5 million library books, magazines, every volume in the library is in need of treatment. We contracted with a company called Belfour Property Restoration that has done a lot of recovery work around the country for hurricanes and tornadoes and other building disasters like ours. They have spent the summer working to basically strip the library down of all the damaged materials. Most of the carpeting, ceiling tiles, drywall, shelving, furniture was all deemed unsalvageable and has filled hundreds of dumpsters over the summer and been removed from the library. They put in these tubes that ran through the building that helped to condition the air and also dehumidify it. We've been without power since May 22nd, so it's been very difficult to control the environment. Because there has been no power in the building, a lot of the work has been done with flashlights and headlamps and other devices. Now we are on what's called construction power, which is a very low level of power that allows some lights to be run through the building. Since we've had to pack out all the books and journals in the library, we've had to find storage off-site for these materials. We've got 3 storage units here in Manhattan and 5 storage units in the limestone caves in Kansas City. This is what Hale Library looks like today. So really stripped down to the studs. This is a typical floor. So you can see there's still some drywall left in some places, but in about 80% of the building, that has been taken out. This is the Harry Potter room, or the Great Room. It took significant damage. The fire was right above this room, and this is the only place in the library where the fire actually broke through into the building proper. It took on significant water damage, both the Great Room or Harry Potter room floor and the 2 floors below it. All the big wooden tables that are in that room have all been thrown out. There's now scaffolding in that room so that the murals that are on the walls can be treated and hopefully restored. They also have created a space at the very top of the room that they call the dance floor. That is where they're working on the ceiling. They're taking all the wood beams down and they're taking the ceiling out due to mold. We have an art conservationist and a preservation company that are working on restoring this original 1927 reading room for us. So what's our future? Nobody asked for a disaster like this. This isn't certainly anything we were hoping for or planning on, but now that we have it, we want to realize the opportunity of being able to do some different things in Hale Library. So we're working with an architectural firm from Kansas City called PGAV, and they are helping us design the future Hale Library, the new Hale Library. We'll be looking for opportunities to get student input on the plans over the course of this semester, probably within the next 6 to 8 weeks. We've had to do a lot related to communications. We've set up this website at www.k-state.edu/Hale. You can get all the information you need about the recovery process, about where study spaces are, about where our information desk is, which is right outside this door. So it's a great place to refer your fellow students to for additional information. We also have a blog that is posting stories about the recovery process. We put about 2 or 3 posts up every week, and you can get a link to that blog from this page. It's a great way to keep up. There's an interactive campus map that will show you where study spaces are, where computers are, printers, other things that you might need to do your studies. In addition to the help desk here, we have 3 branch libraries, the Math Physics Library, the Weigel Architecture Library, and the Vet Med Library that are open for study and assistance. IT help is located in what was the Cat's Paws Lounge up on the 2nd floor of this building. So if you need help with your laptops, with your EID, anything like that, they provide the same service there that they provided in Hale. Our Ask a Librarian service is up and running. You can call, text, email, set an appointment with a library subject specialist who's an expert in the area that you're studying, and make an appointment and work with that person. Interlibrary loan is a service that a lot of students haven't commonly used, but it's a way that we can get materials from other libraries for you to use, copies of articles, books, that sort of thing. It's a form on the website that you fill out with the information on the item that you need. If it's a book, it gets sent here for you to use. If it's an article, it gets scanned and sent directly to your email. And last but not least, we're still here. We're working as hard as we can to help you get through this next year. The tentative plans at this point are that the first floor of the library will be open by fall of 2019, so a year from now. The rest of the building will open in fall of 2020, with the last space being renovated and reopened being that great room, Harry Potter room area. So that's a quick update, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have or take any concerns back for us to work on.
All right, are there any questions for our speaker? Chair Carpenter.
So when you say the first level of the library will be open fall 2019, are you meaning the main level or like the ground floor level?
The ground floor level. We were already planning to renovate that level of the library this summer, and we were just about 3 weeks away from starting that renovation when the fire happened. So we've got those plans ready to go. We've got a contractor ready to go to do that floor, so that'll get done first.
Further questions? Director Works.
With all of the maps and books and cookbooks and things like that that are in storage right now, are you guys planning to restore all of those and bring those back up to the shelves in Hale, or are you planning to use that like floor space for other things?
We're planning to bring about maybe 2/3 of that library collection back, put the rest in our storage facility that's out by the Manhattan Airport, and turn over more space to student study, both quiet study space, group study space, and instructional space.
Further questions? Director Silachik.
Dean Getch, thank you for coming and speaking to us, and we know that this is something that you're very passionate about, so we appreciate you taking the time. My question is, what is something, or what are some things that you need from us as student leaders to do to help further help the library?
I think whatever you all can do to help us get the word out in your housing communities, in your classrooms, and other environments. We still are hearing from students who don't know about this, are surprised to find out that the library is closed, especially new students, freshmen who are just coming on campus. I feel baddest, I think, for them because they don't even have the experience of using Hale Library, and also feel bad for the seniors who are going to graduate without being able to spend their last year in Hale. So I think communication is the most important thing that you can help us do, and also give us feedback about study needs. We know study space is really crunched. We're working already on how we can open up more study space for finals week.
Are there any additional questions for the speaker? Director Works.
Where is it at right now? Like I know you talked about with updating like the bottom floor previously, but now going through and renovating every floor, where's the funding at in regards to that?
The largest portion of funding will come from insurance. University has 2 insurance policies that will be drawn upon to help with this renovation. We don't know yet what that insurance settlement is. That's still in progress. Somebody said today it'll be more than they want to give us, and it'll be less than we want. So,
are there any more questions for our speaker? Senator King.
So you mentioned that a large portion of the books have been moved into a storage unit. What exactly will those books be coming back into the library once it's all said and done, or what's being done to like restore those books to back?
Yeah, most of those books will come back. What happened because of this soot that's on everything is those books have to be individually cleaned. The cleaning process involves using a HEPA vacuum, a high filter vacuum over the book. Then it's wiped down with a chemical sponge. And then the books are put into a sealed ozone chamber. And ozone is shot at the books for about 12 hours. And that takes the smoke smell out of them. So we're trying to get them back to as much of a pristine condition as we can.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Our next open period speaker is Wendy Barnes, who is a counseling services coordinator.
Can you hear me? Okay. I am the outreach coordinator for counseling services, and the reason I'm here tonight is just to let you guys know more about our move that occurred as soon as you left campus last spring. So we are now located in the lower level of the Lafine building. However, our entrances face Platt Avenue. So Platt Avenue is the road that runs parallel to Claflin. So if you go turn Sunset onto Platt Avenue, then you'll see us on your right. And we have 6 parking spots that are specifically for clients, for students. So that was something else we wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of and that you could share. We are also wanting some help from you guys with getting the word spread around campus as well, so that more students are aware of the move. We have had students who didn't know. I've spoken to the English department a couple times. They're like, yeah, we have random people come in here going, where's the counseling center? So wanted to beseech your help and have you share information with, like Dean Getch said, your housing communities, any other groups you're involved with, friends, neighbors, random people you meet on the street, whatever. Another thing to also be aware of is, and if you aren't aware of this, but also to help spread this news, you do get 4 free sessions per academic year. So anything after that does have a minimal cost, $15 for sessions 5 through 10, $25 for anything over 10. To kind of put that into perspective for you, the community, you're going to pay anywhere between $165 to $195 per hour for a therapist, and most co-pays are even running around $40 with insurance. Sorry. To answer a question I've been getting a lot lately at events, we do not take insurance. Even though we are located in the Lafine building, we still do not accept insurance. And do you guys have any questions regarding the move?
Chair Penny, sorry.
Has there been a decrease in numbers since the move, or what are the kind of stats on that?
No, not really. We actually just had that conversation today during the outreach team meeting. I asked that question, and we've been seeing a steady flow. One of the changes that we did make this summer that we've never done in the past and that we are now going to keep in place is, it used to be in the past that you had to be enrolled in classes during the summer in order to see one of the clinical staff. However, we changed that policy that if you were enrolled in classes in spring and that you were currently enrolled for fall, even if you weren't taking classes over the summer, you were eligible for services. So I think we've seen a really nice pattern going on right now, even with the move, by doing that. So that will remain a change for us. And so help spread the word about that too, because that is definitely different.
All right, further questions? Director Jennings.
Yeah, are there any specific room numbers for the counseling services are right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our actual address is 1105 Sunset Avenue, room 101, which is basically where the mail goes. So yeah, no, there's not really. The best way to get to us is if you go through Lafine, you can come down the main elevator and it'll drop you like right outside of our lobby. We prefer for people to come to our entrance. Like I said, it does face Platt Avenue. We now got a lovely sign that says Counseling Services. They were installing that last week. I was like, yay, we have a name now. So.
Thank you.
Further questions? Senator Neatery.
Yeah, I know by last fall, around late October, early November, you were seeing large wait lists. Do you anticipate that happening again this year, or with the numbers that you currently have?
We're hoping that we're going to be able to just keep it all level. Especially we're going to see how much summer, opening up summer to students really impacts us as compared to the past.
Are there any additional questions for the speaker? Senator Spencer.
What was the reasoning for the move? Why did you guys move?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
Senator Neatery.
Sorry, one more question. I also know last year with the privilege fee increase, you were planning on hiring an additional staff member, or at least filling some positions that you had opened. What's the progress on that?
So
when is it moving forward?
I know that Senate had requested a postdoc. So we did put out a call for a postdoc. However, unfortunately, we did not have any candidates to fill that position. So we hired a part-time counselor who has experience. So that individual is currently providing clinical services. We have 2 positions that we're going to be hiring for in the spring. And we ended up having 1 opening that we did not anticipate at the start of this fall. We had a clinical staff psychologist accept another position elsewhere. So, but we will be hiring for those 2 positions in the spring.
Further questions for the speaker? If not, thank you very much for coming tonight. All right, our next open period speaker will be Randy Carter with the American Ethnic Studies Student Association and the Healthy Communities Lab.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? All right, so I'm actually the president of the American Ethnic Studies Student Association, and I'm like a community organizer for Healthy Communities Lab. So I'm coming for 2 different reasons. Basically, for the Student Association, we're wanting to help create a better space for our diversity here on campus and also possibly increase the diversity. But right now, we're like in a recruiting stage, so we're wanting to find anybody who's interested in social justice issues and all of that stuff. Now, for the Healthy Communities Lab, we work on renters' issues. A lot of people have problems with housing, and it greatly affects the student body. Those are most of the renters in Manhattan, Kansas. And with the issue of the flood that just passed, I assume that there's probably a lot of affected students, or more than a few affected students. So I'm wondering if any of you have possibly been affected in any way, or if know anybody has been affected, and if you have, I have contact information for all this stuff. So, yeah.
Could you all raise your hand if you or anyone you know have been affected by the flooding in Manhattan?
That's quite a few, y'all. And that's good. So basically what we do is we take people's stories and we share them on social media. We do some other things up. But a big thing we're doing is actually building a renters union. So this is something that we really need students to get to, because once we're successful with this, we'll start to build power. People will start getting deposits back, security deposits. People won't be so fearful to take landlords to court when they need to, and there will be a lot of things achieved from this. So if y'all want to take down my email, y'all can contact me anytime y'all feel like it. And email is randy5@ksu.edu. Everybody got that? That's my spiel.
All right. Are there any questions for our speaker? Senator Cole.
You know when the next Renters Together union meeting is?
Yes, there's actually one on the 12th, next Wednesday. I don't think there's a place set just yet.
It's at the Douglas Recreational Center.
Well, they must have just decided that, because as of yesterday, there was not a place set. But there's also another one on the 26th, so 2 Wednesdays after. I'll also leave a few flyers, because the first ASA event is actually next Wednesday at 6:30 as well. So I won't be at the Renters Union one. But yeah. Any more questions?
Further questions for the speaker? Caucus Leader Kidd.
Have you had a chance to communicate this information to off-campus housing support in Holton Hall so that they can promote this to other students that may be utilizing their services for these purposes?
Yes, they've been to a few of our meetings, so we do work with them, and I expect that we will probably do some co-sponsorships at events with them in the future. The issue is that normally when they have tables and things, a lot of students don't really go to that. I think The issue with that is there's a narrative in Manhattan that a lot of these issues are normal. And also, even when people are having troubles and they don't feel that they're normal, sometimes they're too fearful to actually go against their landlords because that's where they live and they don't want to have problems with where they lay their heads. So one thing is we just have to, build the power and build the awareness of the situations.
Are there any additional questions for the speaker? Director Boyd.
Have you all started communicating with the city commission very much on that specifically to see if they will provide any support, whether it's through legislation or just the individual members trying to support?
We've done it somewhat. We've spoken with different offices like Code Services, and again, the main thing that we're doing right now is we just have to organize. We have to connect with the student body and the people who actually also are not students. But there are a lot of people involved in this movement, but a lot of those people are not renters. So,
further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for coming tonight. Are there any additional speakers for first open period? Intern Coordinator Bothwell.
I have a point of parliamentary procedure.
Please.
And so that is, can an intern coordinator, who is also not a senator, aka Sadie, are they able to defer speaking rights?
Defer speaking rights.
We're going to check on that. Okay. We'll
She doesn't have speaking rights.
Okay, so I would have to. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, you would.
I know the answer. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
That's a point of parliamentary procedure. Did you say point of order or?
I said parliamentary procedure.
Sorry.
All right. With that, we will now move into approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Caucus Leader Heatherman.
I move to approve the minutes as distributed.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as distributed. Are there any objections? If not, the minutes are approved. All right, we will now move into announcements for the week. The first announcement is welcome to the new class of KSU SGA interns, predominantly in the back of the room. The first meeting of the 2018-2019 SGA intern program was tonight, and all the interns were invited to come to Student Senate afterwards. We ask our more seasoned SGA members to greet students to Wildcat Chamber, save a seat for an intern, or sit next to an unfamiliar face moving forward. Our next announcement for tonight is for first open period, and thank you to all those that respected this announcement. Please close all laptops and remain off of other electronics. We want to show respect to our speakers throughout the rest of the term. Third is the 2018-2019 SGA Committee at-large member application is now due this Friday, tomorrow, September 7th at 5 p.m. The membership of the Diversity Programming Committee, a committee listed on this application, includes 2 student senators. So we strongly encourage you all to apply if you're interested in any of these opportunities, and the link is provided. Proxies tonight are Bowen for Bowler, and I believe that is all we have. And lastly is SGA Member of the Week this week, which goes to Senator Alec Hildreth for authoring 2 commendations in recognition of K-State student achievements. If we could give him a round of applause. And the quote of the week this week is, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King, Jr. All right, there are no commendations on the agenda for this evening, so we will now move into approval of appointments.
Will the author of Resolution 10 please come forward?
I'd love to. I will make a note before reading this resolution that Jordan, Lacey, and Miranda would be here tonight, but both Lacey and Miranda are at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln at the Huskers Dialogues event, and Jordan had a very important interview this evening. So Resolution 18-1910, approval of the Student Body President's State Relations Director. by Miranda Moore, Jordan Keel, Lacey Pitts, and Ryan Kelly. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association Constitution and Bylaws specify the KSU-SGA branch includes a state relations director, whereas applications and interviews were made available to all students who showed interest in the KSU-SGA this past spring, whereas the position of state relations director became vacant and 3 previous applicants showed interest and were offered interviews, and whereas this individual was chosen on the basis of their leadership ability, experience, and dedication to serving the Kansas State University student body throughout the next term. Be it resolved that Section 1, the following individual be approved for the respective offices for the 2018-2019 term. State Relations Director, Faith Tuttle.
Are there any corrections or questions for the author? Senator Cole.
On line 8, could we strike up the?
Yes.
Any further questions? Is there any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, the resolution carries.
All right. Congratulations. Director Tuttle, could you please come forward to be sworn in? All right, you know how it goes. Please say "I do" at the end of the statement. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of State Relations Director and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome. Name, major, hometown, and favorite smell.
My name is Faith Tuttle. I'm from Gove, Kansas. I'm majoring in political science and international studies with a minor in leadership. And my favorite smell would have to be like freshly cut alfalfa.
All right, we will now move into committee reports. Are there any committee chairs who would like to make a report? Chair Penny.
Yeah, the last few weeks, the Privilege Fee Committee approved a request from KCB to transfer $3,600 from their reserve account to their operational account. And I just want to take a quick second to explain why that was not voted on by Senate and kind of what happened there. So one of the responsibilities of Privilege Fee is as we allocate all this money, this $16 million to these different entities on campus, some of those places have an operations account and a reserve account. And the reserve account is basically for like repair and replace and large one-time allocations. And if they ever want to pull from that, they have to come to us to ask for permission. So KSDB last year, fiscal year 18, ended up about $14,000 in the red for many different reasons. And so, and they kind of scrapped together funds, but still needed $3,600 to pull that account back into the black and clear that out. So they requested during the summer to come to us and ask for that $3,600. And so we've been meeting for 3 weeks, had a lot of great discussion, asked very great questions. My committee has been awesome with that, and we got that approved. And that only has to be approved by the Privilege Fee Committee, which is why you do not see it in your agenda to be voted on by you guys. So if you have any questions regarding that, speak to me after Senate or anybody on the Privilege Fee Committee, and we'll be able to answer any of your questions.
All right, thank you, Chair Penny. Are there any additional committee chair reports? Seeing none, we will now move into director's reports. Are there any director's reports? Director Boyd.
Hello, everybody. So once again, we're going into the second week of the food drive of the SGA versus the Collegian. Thus far, we've done decently well, although I think we can do much better. I don't have any results for you yet since we're working on counting up stuff, and there's been some kind of craziness with that. But I do want to communicate some things from the Cats Cupboard. So as a result from the flood, there's now some people who are needing some extra support, and the Cats Cupboard has been providing that. Some families have been moved into Jardine, and then there's some other students that have been in other housing but are receiving some support from the Cats Cupboard and other student services. Now, when you think Cats Cupboard, you probably just think food. Well, Cats Cupboard also has some other items, so specifically some kitchen items and some other items that are very essential to just general living. So those are all things that they need right now. So I will be sending out an email probably tomorrow to the SGA list, kind of listing out some of those things. So if you have, example, like extra plates, if you have some extra clothes, especially warm clothing, since once they start getting into winter, they do hand out winter clothes. But a lot of those sorts of things they really need right now, because there's some students, there's some families that really could use our support. So yes, while this was meant as kind of a competition too, this is also a great way to support those who lost a lot of things in the flood. Additionally, today is the last day. I'm going to be really pushing and nagging people about the Amazon wish list, just to provide enough time for shipping. But they just added some more items and updated it. There's some cheap stuff. There's a little bit more pricey, but all of it is great. They really need a lot of that right now. So if you can, it's k-state.edu/cats-cupboard. So that's k-state.edu/cats-cupboard. And I want you all to please, 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 if you don't bring in cans or something this week, please try to go to the Amazon list as soon as possible, and please help out, because they really need our support right now. This is a really important time. So, yep, I stand for questions.
All right, any questions for Director Boyd? Senator Hildreth.
Where can students find the bin to drop off?
Good question. So yeah, there is, if you go into the area behind the CSI where there's those bookshelves by the windows there, you'll see some bags and some various cans and stuff. Just set them right there, and we'll probably have a bin there, and there's just some boxes there now, but that's where you can drop them off.
Further questions? Senator Brown.
Do you have a general idea of how many students were severely affected by the flood, or did they say how many students were coming?
They didn't give me any numbers.
Further questions?
Can I do a point of information to answer that question?
Director Boyd can defer his speaking rights to Senator Cole.
I defer my speaking rights to Senator Cole.
There's roughly 150 people affected by it.
Students?
It's people in the Manhattan community, so it's probably going to include at least a fourth of students, if not more.
I think that Kaylee with the Collegian would like you to defer your speaking rights to her.
I defer my speaking rights to Kaylee from the Collegian.
30 students in the first 48 hours who reached out to the Office of Student Life for immediate support. The numbers aren't totally up to date about since then, but it's been at least 30 students.
All right, further questions? All right, seeing none, are there any additional director reports? Director Cruz.
That's gonna work. Hi guys, I'm Mariana. I am the Campus Climate and Safety Director, and I apologize for not being here last week to give you a rundown of what I've been working on over the summer. But over the summer, I've been working on creating the Wildcat Task Force against sexual violence, and I will have a presentation for you guys next week to go more in depth about what that is about. But for now, I just wanted to make you guys aware that in the beginning of next week, there will be an OrgSync application for committee members, task force members, and I'm really looking to reach out to all areas of campus. So it'd be super helpful if, when that does get sent out by email, if you guys could just share it with your friends, send it in your group meets, and just kind of help them get the word out, because it's really only going to be out there for about 2 weeks. So that would be really awesome, and I look forward to telling you guys all about it next week.
All right, are there any questions for Director Cruz? All right, seeing none, are there any additional director reports? Coordinator Bothwell.
So like Ryan mentioned earlier, tonight was the first night of the intern program. I hope you guys are seeing some new faces in here. It was really exciting, so that was just a great thing. To all the interns who stayed, we're really excited that you're here right now. A couple other notes of things for the coming weeks. If you are interested in helping like do attendance or anything like that with the intern program, please let us know. Shelby Carpenter and Haley Spellman helped tonight. They're both awesome. But so if anyone else would like to help just like the hour before Senate starts, we would greatly appreciate it. Also, we're still looking for more mentors for the SGA mentor program. We are at 20 people right now, so we need 15 more people. So if you are interested in being a mentor for an intern, please let us know. We will put you on our list. The last thing is if you are still interested in like learning more, if there are areas of SGA that you would like to learn more about, please feel free to come to the intern meetings in the coming weeks. They're going to be a perfect opportunity for you to do that. I stand for questions.
All right, questions for Coordinator Bothwell. Caucus Leader Kidd.
Since you're looking for mentors, what's the best way that we can communicate that interest to you? Via email, text, GroupMe, Facebook, Snapchat, Insta?
Basically, anyway, we're just taking, this isn't going to be, like this program isn't going to be happening for like 2 months. So we're really just getting names right now just to make sure we have people available to do it. So any way possible, you can talk to us after the meeting if you want.
All right, further questions? Director Boyd.
How many people came tonight?
I did not have the exact numbers. It was 2 full pages of OrgSync after you like swipe in ID cards. So I think it's 30 per page. What? I can defer to Haley.
I think we had maybe 52 people because we were counting and added up the totals, so over 50 at least.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Haley.
All right, further questions? All right, seeing none, are there any additional director reports? Speaker Pro Tempore Arnoldi.
Hey, that works. Okay, so I have a few things I want to talk to you guys about. The first one is going to be about sending resolutions. So part of my job, after you guys pass resolutions and it goes through and Jordan and Ryan sign it, I get to make sure it gets sent out to the right people. We're going to do that this year. So, I'm going to show you guys some stuff on OrgSync, basically, which is where I have most of it uploaded now so that you guys know what to do when you're drafting resolutions and commendations and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go to the SGA page. So I have most of this here. What I'm going to be talking you guys through, I also have, if you go to Files, and then this legislation folder, there's a fun PDF called So You Want to Submit a Resolution. And that has all the instructions in there. It is kind of, well, I won't download it, but there is kind of like it's a long-ish process, which is why I'm going through it up here for you guys. So, but if you have questions about that, always feel free to just let me know, or you can look there as a reference. So the first thing that you need when like doing this is you need to actually make a resolution, which is fun. So if you go to the legislation tab, you can go down and look at the template for resolutions, download that, do whatever you want with your resolution. There are rules here for the style guide, the guidelines for legislation that comes through Senate. After you get done with that, you're going to submit it in this folder, which is Submit to Senate Operations, and then Senate Ops will meet as a committee and look over it, basically to look for like errors in the style guide and typos and stuff like that. After that, it'll be introduced here in Senate. It'll go through, it'll pass hopefully, all of that stuff, it'll go through there. The next thing that you're gonna wanna worry about then is getting me the mailing addresses for all of the people you're gonna send it to. So like the commendation that we passed last week, that Alec drafted, at the end of that it said, upon passage of the student body president, this document will be sent to the following people. So you're gonna wanna make sure that I have that information to send out. So in the legislation folder, there's one called Sending Resolutions Information. So you're gonna go there. And then there's a guidelines and common addresses for sending resolutions. And then there's another one that's just like it, only it's blank. So you're gonna download the blank one and fill it out, and then upload it again here. So like you'll make a folder that says resolution number, title of it, upload it there so that I have that information. So just to kind of see, so this is the guidelines and common addresses. So you'll download this one, look at it. I hope this opens. Cool. So you're going to get something basically that looks close to this on the blank one. It's just an Excel document. With this, you're going to fill out their title, their first name, their middle name if they have one, a last name, address, city, all of that stuff. It is important that you keep it in this format because I'm not going to go through and individually put every single name on every letter. I'm going to mail merge it with Microsoft Word, which is a fun thing that can happen. So please stick to this format and don't just like send me a list and like, hey, throw her there. But yeah, so that's the kind of the general idea. In this document, I will be going through this week and making sure that it is an updated version. But there are some commonly used addresses down at the bottom that you can use, so you don't have to look all of these up, and you can just copy and paste them to make it a little easy for you guys. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? Cool. So basically, download that, fill it out, put it in the folder. So like I said, it'll be in legislation. There's a folder for sending resolutions information, completed resolution information, and then your folder for the specific resolution that you made. The very final part of this is a cover letter. So when we actually send the information, they're going to get a copy of.
I move to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes.
It's been moved and seconded to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes. Are there any objections? All right, if not, you have 5 more minutes.
I promise this will be the longest report I ever give. But anyway, so they're going to get a copy of the resolution. They're also going to get a cover letter from you kind of explaining what is this. So there's a couple drafts here in this folder that you can use to modify. And then, so one for dean and university presidents, for students and advisors, government officials, and that kind of stuff. If you open these and look at them, we'll download another stuff. You're gonna see the weird mail merging stuff on here also. So like this, don't change that because that's how we make sure that all of the stuff from the Excel document fits in there. So all of this paragraph here, you are welcome to change however it is you want. We will look over it and proofread it, but then other than that, that is based on the author of the resolution. Any other questions about that? So what you need when you submit a resolution is to submit the resolution, and then I need the mailing addresses and a cover letter. So those 3 things are the big ones. Cool. Any final questions about commendations, resolutions, anything like that?
Any questions for the speaker? All right.
And I do have a few more updates. The last thing I want to talk about is Diversity Programming Committee, which is what I chair. what Ryan had announced at the beginning, Senate Exec appoints 2 student senators and also 1 student at large to that committee, and we're going to be doing that this Tuesday. So if you are interested in doing that, please fill out the application. And then our meeting time for that is going to be on Wednesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. And that's all I have.
All right, any questions for the speaker? All right, if not, we will move into additional directors' reports if there are any. Are there any other directors' reports? Senator Neatery.
Sorry, I'm not really a committee chair or director, but soon you'll see a sign-up sheet for working registration for the Big 12 conference. This is the only other way you will be able to get involved with the conference as of right now, other than van driving. If you're a van driver, please reach out to me. So just be looking for that and please sign up. It'll be at Parkwood Inn Suites from 3 to 6 on that Thursday. So just sign up for that. That would be super helpful.
All right, any questions for Senator Neatery? All right, seeing none, are there any final directors' reports? Okay, if not, we will move into introduction of legislation.
Point of order, College Caucus tonight.
College caucuses will not be meeting this evening. All right, so now we will move into introduction of legislation. Will the author of Resolution 181909 please come forward?
Oh, we don't have resolutions up here. Cool.
Cool. All right. Whereas the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Act is our nation's keystone policy in fighting hunger, reaching 42 million Americans in fiscal year 2017 alone. Whereas the Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018, known as H.R. 2 of 2018, commonly referred to as the Farm Bill, is the governing legislation for SNAP. Whereas the Senate version of the Farm Bill is a bipartisan piece of legislation that strengthens SNAP and passed the Senate with a vote of 86-11. Whereas the House version of the Farm Bill is a partisan piece of legislation that implements harmful changes to SNAP and passed along party lines with a vote of 213-211. Whereas the House version of the Farm Bill will revoke access to food to 2 million Americans on SNAP, including families with children over 6, those taking care of other family members who cannot meet the 20-hour work requirement, amongst other vulnerable groups. Whereas Senator Pat Roberts and Representative Roger Marshall sit on the conference committee that determines the final bill that must pass both chambers of Congress. Whereas the SNAP assisted 234,000 Kansans in fiscal year 2017, providing critical avenues of economic upward mobility for families across Kansas. Whereas, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, 74% of Kansas SNAP participants are families with children, 34% are families with members who are elderly or disabled, and 48% are working families. Whereas, according to the Kansas State University Campus Climate Survey in 2015, 1 in 5 students struggle with food insecurity. And whereas, according to the Kansas State University Student Governing Association bylaws, the mission of KSU SGA is to provide a student body with an honest representation and committed advocacy through the assessment of university issues and proactive service for the betterment of campus community. Be it resolved that Section 1, Kansas State University Student Governing Association calls upon Senator Pat Roberts and Representative Roger Marshall to pass a bipartisan farm bill that reflects the Senate version that protects and strengthens the Supplemental Nutrition Assistant program. This includes not imposing strict work requirements, no harsh time limits, increased state flexibility, and no punitive barriers, such as denying SNAP to people who have previously been incarcerated. Section 2, KSU SGA calls upon Senator Jerry Moran, Representative Lynn Jenkins, Representative Kevin Yoder, and Representative Ron Estes to urge Senator Pat Roberts and Representative Roger Marshall to pass a bipartisan farm bill that reflects the Senate version and protects and strengthens SNAP. Section 3, upon passage of this resolution by the Student Senate and the signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Senator Jerry Moran, Senator Pat Roberts, Representative Roger Marshall, Representative Lynn Jenkins, Representative Kevin Yoder, and Representative Ron Estes. And Section 4, upon passage of this resolution by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be personally handed to Senator Jerry Moran on September 11, 2018.
All right, are there any questions for the author? Senator Hildreth.
Yeah, so on section 4, what do the logistics look like for you to personally hand Jeremy the letter? Is it like who's going to do it when? I know he's on campus, but how are you going to make that?
Yeah, so there's meeting time after his Landon lecture with the media. There's obviously time that we could hand him the legislation then.
Okay, and then
Follow up, granted.
Yeah. What is the kind of justification if we're sending it to him already to hand him another one?
So staffers can have it as well. Just so, because constituent voices do matter a lot to members of Congress, it's important that their staffers also see it.
All right, further questions? Caucus Leader Heatherman?
First, thanks for all the added work you put into it this week. Looks pretty good today. But I just wanted to clarify, is it the Supplemental Nutrition Assistant Act, or is it referred to as program?
It's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. I noticed that too as I was reading it. I was like, yikes.
We can just get that changed in both spots.
Correct,
So, like
yeah.
All right, further questions? All right, seeing none.
So I'm going to move to suspend the rules and special order resolution 1819.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules and special order resolution 9. This is a debatable motion, which means that Senator Cole has first right to debate. I will add that this is specific to the motion to special order this resolution. Special ordering means that we would go straight from introduction of legislation into final action this evening. We are not voting or debating on the bill or the resolution itself, just the motion to bring it into final action tonight. Sorry.
All right. As former President Dwight Eisenhower once said, every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft of those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and cannot be clothed. As representatives of our student body, we have a moral obligation to do what is in the best interest of students of K-State. The popular opinion, influenced by news coverage, commentary, and fictional accounts of Congress, is that constituents' voices do not matter to influence legislators. Research indicates that this is not the case. According to the
Senator Cole, really quick, I wanted to mention that this debate is specifically germane to the motion itself, not about the resolution.
Towards the end?
Correct.
Okay, I would encourage you to keep your debate specific to the motion itself, which is to expedite the process. Yeah, why does it need to be special ordered?
So, millions of lives are about to be impacted by this legislation. If we do not fulfill our moral obligation to serve our student body, the Farm Bill could hit very close to home. This is why it's critical to engage Senator Moran on campus, and this is why we must special order this resolution. Going back to what the Congressional Management Foundation did, they surveyed the congressional staff, particularly chiefs of staff, legislative directors, and legislative assistants, and indicated the following: that in-person issued visits from constituents influence our members of Congress the most, with 94% having some or a lot of positive influence. Members of Congress say that staying in touch with constituents is the most important job aspect critical to their effectiveness. And communications from representatives of that district and of state-based groups are very important to 99% of members of Congress. And while helpful information of the impact of legislation on the district or the state is considered very helpful for 91% of members of Congress, only 9% of members of Congress say that it happens very frequently. And so that's why we need to special order this legislation tonight and get it to Senator Moran on the 11th.
All right, are there any questions for Senator Cole? Senator Wilhelm.
Would you handing this resolution or bill to him break the previous precedents that we've had in the past of mailing these things to our senators?
So we're also mailing them to him as well, but as I've stated previously, in-person interactions with him are going to be the most effective way, with 94% of members of Congress saying that that is the most thing that causes positive influence on legislation.
I will just say as a reminder, these questions need to be specific to the special order. Given that, are there any additional questions? All right, seeing none, is there debate in the negative on the special order? Senator Neatery.
Sorry, I was not prepped to debate tonight, but as an old senator in the room who believes in the due diligence of taking that 2 weeks to make sure that what we're passing on, especially to congressmen, as students, is professional and is worded as perfectly as we can to try to show how we are leaders on campus. But more importantly, I think when we're inviting somebody to our home, to Kansas State University, to present a Landon lecture, we need to be good hosts in that, and I think that by shoving a bill and shoving an agenda in their face when we invited them to our home is just a little unprofessional, and I would rather just send it through the mail.
Are there any questions for Senator Neatery about special ordering? Thanks, Bill. All right. If not, I will now entertain debate in the positive on the motion to special order. Chair Spellman.
Okay, kind of mirroring what Jonathan was talking about when he was or Senator Cole was speaking about. One of the most critical ways on engaging a senator or just a congressman as a whole is to personally contact them. So we, as the Governmental Relations Committee, we met for our first meeting last night, and if you look at the resolution, everybody that was present.
I would remind you to stay specific to the special order, not the handing of the resolution itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may continue.
So everybody that was there in the committee also thought that it was important to personally hand Senator Jerry Moran this resolution. So by engaging him in that interaction next Tuesday while he's here, we saw that as something that was super critical, and we saw it as something that was as important to move to special order and pass that tonight.
All right, questions for Chair Spellman? Seeing none, I will now entertain debate in the negative on the motion to special order. Debate in the positive. Senator Albers.
I defer my speaker as to Nate Patrick.
All right, please come forward.
All right, it's good seeing everyone. For those of you that I've not met yet in the room, my name is Nate Faflick, and I'm a senior in Human Development and Family Sciences from Wichita, Kansas. I'm not involved in SGA currently. I'm just a student who cares, who wanted to be here tonight because I figured that this might come up. So, being from Wichita, there are a lot of students from my high school that don't make it here to K-State. 70% of the students from my high school, Wichita High School East, qualify for free and reduced lunch programs. That's about on pace for the 74% of individuals and families in the state that qualify for supplemental nutrition assistance programs who have children that live within their households.
Nate, I would just remind you that this is specific to why we need to pass this tonight.
Brilliant. So we all know and understand the negative effects that hunger has on education. And in order to protect and maintain the value and integrity of the land-grant mission for Kansas State University, it is imperative to combat hunger and poverty as it exists every chance that we see it. So that calls a sense of urgency because the time to act is now. Also want to address that the Landon Lecture Series has formerly brought in previous speakers such as the first female president of Malawi, who John and I got to meet this summer when we were in Washington, D.C., visiting with our members of Congress. And so we do have a previous relationship through a nonprofit organization based out of D.C., and we do have this connection, and we're just following up and maintaining that personal relationship that we've established through that nonprofit organization, separated from our independent advocacy efforts.
All right, questions for Nate Faflick?
John.
Okay,
Oh,
Senator
sorry.
Cruz, or Cole.
Thanks. How long have we as like K-State students have a relationship with Senator Moran?
That legacy started with Garrett Wilkinson, so that would be for about 3 to 4 years.
Senator Neary.
Why does this resolution need to be passed tonight and can't be passed next week?
I mean, the injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and so I believe that we need to act with a sense of urgency as this affects people today and the here and now.
Further questions? Senator Filbert.
Do you have an idea of when this bill plans to hit the floor in the Senate and be voted on there?
I do not know the answer to that. I'll defer to John.
They want to pass it before September 30th, so it's anytime this month.
Further questions? Director Cruz.
This is a point of clarification maybe more for you, but if this doesn't pass tonight for final action, can it still pass, like Sarah said, in about within the time of 2 weeks and then just be mailed?
Yes, if the motion fails tonight, then it will be referred back to the Governmental Relations Committee and will be brought into final action as with all of our resolutions next Thursday. Further questions for Nate Faflick? All right, if not, I will now entertain debate in the negative on the motion of special order. Is there any debate in the positive? Director Boyd.
Very quickly, I just want to say that elected officials are held to a higher standard, and thus we are inviting them to come here to speak to us, their constituents. And thus, I believe handing them a letter in person is actually a very good thing to do. It's a very proper form of civic engagement when we are giving them the opportunity. They are not giving us the opportunity to hear them. We are giving them the opportunity to come speak to us. That is generally, at least, in how I have perceived things in my political science studies. So I stand for questions.
Any questions for Director Boyd? Senator Albers.
I just have a quick question of clarification. I mean, he is setting aside time after he speaks to talk with students regarding policy, yes?
That is my understanding.
There's an email sent out.
I defer to John Cole.
Yeah, so there was an email sent out by Miranda Moore saying, hey, RSVP for this meet and greet so you can actually meet Senator Moran. And so that's also a great time to hand them a bill and talk about, like, hey, you know, SNAP is coming up. I mean, they do this all the time at town halls too, and that's why it's really important that we pass this tonight.
Further questions for Director Boyd? Senator Javin.
Sorry, I don't have intent. My question is, do you think that it would be enough to ask questions during the meet and greet and mention SNAP as an issue, and also discuss your personal views on that, and then maintain precedence and not special order tonight? Or do we especially need to?
Senator Javin, I would encourage you to maybe rephrase the question specific to the special order, not necessarily the resolution.
Is it okay if we don't special order it and then you ask him that question without the legislation?
I think it is more proper to hand them something physically that is a statement than have multiple different positions that we as a unified body can come to them and say this is what we believe. While yes, something in the mail would be received later on, but it is more significant to hand them right then and there in person. And so I believe it is important that we do that in order to have more effectiveness and also to have a more unified position on the issue.
Further questions for Director Boyd? Okay, seeing none, I will now entertain debate in the negative. Any debate in the positive? Director Marshall.
I actually have a point of clarification.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm not really sure, I apologize, I'm not really sure how all this works, but if we don't special order this tonight, and decide to vote on it next week, wouldn't he have to alter the bill itself? Because in the bill, it actually says that you'd have to hand it on the 11th, so he would have to alter the bill and then reintroduce it next week to be voted on in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a great question, and one I don't think we'd really thought of. If it doesn't pass, if the special order doesn't pass tonight, then we will refer it back to the Governmental Relations Committee, where I assume that they would amend the resolution to remove Section 4 or amend the day that it is to be delivered to Jerry Moran.
Would it then have to be rewritten, though, and reintroduced?
No, because it can be introduced and amended. That's the purpose of having the 2-week process.
Okay.
Thanks. So is there any debate in the negative? Debate in the negative. Caucus Leader Heatherman.
Hi, sorry, but most of this is primarily just echoing what Sarah said, but also to bear in mind why Senator Moran's coming on the date is September 11th, and that's to talk about maintaining a global society post 9/11. And while he is opening that opportunity to discuss policy with students in the afternoon, I would implore those who have specific concerns with legislation to do that at that time rather than specifically after his lecture.
It's not germane to the special order for a special.
I would encourage you to keep your debate specific to the special order.
Okay, so by not special ordering this, I believe that we can then have time to refine those ideas after visiting with Senator Moran, given you'll still have a couple days. And then at that time, we can send that forward more professionally. With that, I'm open for questions.
Are there any questions for Caucus Leader Heatherman? Senator Cole.
I might get called out for a leading question, but is food insecurity not a national security issue? Like, is it not all linked together?
And it's not specific to the special order itself. So I would encourage you to rephrase if you could. All right. Are there any additional questions for Caucus Leader Heatherman? All right. Seeing none, is there debate in the positive?
I moved the previous question.
Second.
All right, we will move into a voice vote on calling previous question. Previous question means that we will now move directly into a vote on the special order. So voting yes right now means that you want to move directly into a vote on the special order. It does not mean you're voting on the special order.
You're not voting on the bill, you're voting on the special order.
No, you're not voting on the special order. You're voting to vote on the special order. Okay, and this is a 2/3 vote. So all in favor of calling previous question and voting now on the special order, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, we'll move directly to a vote on the special order. And this is a 2/3 vote, and it will be a hand vote. All in favor of special ordering Resolution 9, please raise your hand. All right, well, the motion for special order fails. So this Resolution 9 will be referred to the Governmental Relations Committee.
Point of order, we need to get the vote tally.
The vote was 15. The vote was 15 to. How many total senators do we have? 45.
To get 2/3, you need 32.
Yeah, we needed 32 to get 2/3, and we had 15. All right, with that, we will move into second open period. Are there any second open period speakers? Chair Spellman.
Hi, everybody. So for those who were in Senate last year, you might remember me. I was an at-large member that attended every week. I sat in the back corner, and I used to watch y'all kind of type on your laptops and play on your phones. I want to establish a good habit now, and kind of following what was in the announcements this week. I don't think that we should be on our laptops, and we shouldn't be playing on our phones, especially if it has nothing to do with Senate and SGA as a whole. So I don't want to see you sending email to your professor about being late to class tomorrow, or sending a message on, I don't know, Twitter or tweeting, whatever. But I think it's important that we focus on what's going on in Senate and what happens here, because we're here to represent the student body. And if we are playing on our electronics, that's not successfully representing them.
Are there any questions for Chair Spellman? All right, seeing none, are there any additional second open period speakers? Caucus Leader Kidd.
Hello, thank you. Hey everyone, so I am Caucus Leader Kidd. For this semester, I have the opportunity to serve on the KS Unite Planning Committee. And so I serve alongside Speaker Kelly and Senator Roman, and so we are just working really, really hard to make the event the best that it can be. With that, there are some things that are unconfirmed that we can't share with you now, but there should be some information being sent out via communications and marketing. Why I'm standing in front of you today to talk to you about KS Unite, the three of us, but just me right now on the floor, we kind of I just wanted to take the time to try and get some feedback from this body on topics that could be included in the workshop sessions for the event. We've already had some feedback. I've been talking to them both about maybe doing like a presentation or something, but I thought that this style would just be more comfortable, low-key, chill, just tell me what you think. I would say find me after the meeting, but I'm not sticking around after the meeting, so I just wanted to take a second, no more than like a minute or two, just to get some feedback over what topics you'd like to hear about, or what topics or sessions you'd be interested in going to for KS Unite this year, for KS Unite 2.0.
I think free speech is a good one, and General Counsel has a good setup already that they're doing for Big 12 conference, so they'd be a big help.
I have my voice memos thing on, so just so I don't have to write everything down. So perfect, got it. Thank you. Anyone else for the microphone? For me. Any other topics that come to mind?
Can we not have the preacher try to sell his daughter to the whole entire student body again?
Okay. I will pass that back to the planning committee. Thank you. Any other topics? Again, we just want to make sure that it's relevant to what students want to hear, and since you represent students, and that's, again, why I'm kind of doing this now versus later. As a reminder, KS Unite is on October 9th. That takes us during homecoming, so we're about a month out. So we're just, we're going. We are going. So any other topics come to mind? All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
And Caucus Leader Kidd, could you share your email address with senators so that they can contact you?
Yes, my email, it's very easy. So it's the first letter of my first name, M, and then my full last name, Kidd, K-I-D-D. There's two D's, not K-I-D. There are two Marcus Kidds, though, in the K-State system, I think. So I am mkidd at ksu.edu, not Marcus Kidd 913 or whatever. So mkidd. Short, sweet, to the point. So, thank you.
Definitely. And Senator Neary, I wanted to mention that we are already planning on doing a free speech workshop, so good suggestion. Are there any additional speakers for second open period? Advisor Harlan.
So I was just going to comment that while
the resolution didn't pass special orders and it doesn't require that it be presented to the senator. There's nothing that says we can't still talk to the senator when you have a chance to talk to him. And that can include presenting him with a written piece of what we'll be discussing in 2 days as a Senate body, as long as they're not selling it as already passed. Personally, I don't like the idea of legislating how something has to be delivered. I think that creates logistical problems. But there's absolutely nothing that says you can't have the exact same conversation with the exact same presentation given that chance. Hopefully you do it in a respectful manner, but take advantage of that time to bring up this or any other topics that you feel appropriate for that time.
All right, any questions for Advisor Harlan? Seeing none, are there any final second open period speakers? All right, if not, we will move into second roll call.
Adams.
Here.
Albers.
Here.
Armstrong.
Here.
Belk.
Here.
Bergston.
Here.
Bolar. Bothwell.
Here.
Bowen.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Carpenter.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Davis. DeMoranville.
Here.
Dunfield.
Here.
Filbert. Gammon.
Here.
Grover.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Harp.
Here.
Heatherman.
Here.
Hildreth.
Here.
Huffman.
Here.
Javin.
Here.
Karmali.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
King.
Here.
Kulkarni.
Here.
Leverett.
Here.
Mari.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Neatery.
Here.
Orth.
Here.
Orzakowski.
Here.
Pelton.
Here.
Penny.
Here.
Porter.
Here.
Riffle.
Here.
Roman.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Spencer.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Tile.
Here.
Chumlin.
Here.
Wessel.
Here.
Wilhelm.
Here.
Whitmer.
Here.
And Yogunadon. There are 45 senators present, 1 excused and 1 absent.
All right, with that, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. If you could raise your hand. Senator Cole?
I move to adjourn to the same time next week, same place. I don't know technical things.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn to same time, same place next week. Are there any objections? If not, we are adjourned.
Ready to go? You can do it at any time, just after. I need to get a new pair. I need to get jeans shopping. I need to get 5 pairs of jeans. This was a good scent. I know this was activity. We were like no
I love it. No one can leave. And you did it really That's what I meant. I was like, well, the offer for me I should have called for a motion. And have the town funds because we have I like all practice.
One thing, wait, you threw them off? Pre-brainstorm, guys? I got office hours. Exactly what I did. 10 to noon, office hours, you're gonna be there? 7 to noon? Making a,
That was really like a visceral reaction.
This whole that was a good one. Oh, no, wait, yeah, I know, like that was good stuff. I'm gonna. Oh, because we don't want to ruin the relationship. I don't care. What did you get? He wanted to get well, that's what happens a lot in like yesterday we had a social event. You can get arrested for obstruction.
How long did that last? I didn't know. Like to get people to like.
It's obstruction and crowding. It's just like a traffic ticket.
He's a public representative. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want.
No, but like my plan was to also ask him about TV funding because the Senate was has a lower version of the funding too, so we're trying to get him to do the House version, which is like $302 million. And
sounds really weird. That sounds really weird. Sounds like it's just.
I don't know. I think we need to have a meeting. I think I'm gonna say, hey, surprise.